much like that. If someone verbally attacks you, you can't do anything to them. If they put their hands on you, then you have a little leeway to defend yourself. Even if it's a child,
Not in a
you
school
have to
district.
you have to calm that kid down.
Not in a school district.
Mm.
Ask some of the teachers that have resigned because of physical violence
Don't
towards
touch
them
him.
or threats.
Don't touch him.
All right, so the teachers will run for the hills then. Okay, so what are some solutions to this issue? Any ideas?
I feel like the states, the districts, they need to increase staff. You can't cut staff, not replace staff, and divvy tasks to everybody, including the teacher. There are some things teachers should not be doing, period,
Now,
besides kids.
now, when you say staff, you mean outside of teachers, right?
Outside of teachers, absolutely. Administrators, whatever else you need in the school, monitors, whatever, to
Mhm.
do alternative things and allow the teachers to teach. Allow the teachers to teach. If you need to bring in counselors for the disruptive students. Because they're disruptive doesn't necessarily mean there's something mentally wrong. I mean, mentally challenging about them. It could be a home environment. It could be something that's happened to them that they're, exhibiting. But they need to increase staff. They need to increase salaries. For one, they need to provide opportunities for the teachers to seek care to remain healthy mentally and physically. You know,
Yep,
but
I think something needs to change to one bring teachers back um, that have left, and it needs to be attractive
yes,
as far as the money, as far as benefits, but also as far as environment. It, it has to be healthy. It has to be something that can um, create a good environment for them, for the kids, and eventually for the school as well. Any other ideas?
I have a couple. I think these can lead. Well, I think one of them can lead to solutions, and the other is a something that folks can do. So I do highly recommend that folks get involved in listening to school board meetings. A lot of them are on Zoom now. A lot of them you don't have to actually be there, because I do strongly believe that parents in the community can make a huge difference. If you don't listen to school board meetings or attend them or get involved in them, that will help give you more of a window into what the school is facing, the teachers, the administration. There's probably some stuff going on that you have absolutely no awareness of, even if you're a parent of a child at the school. And I think that by being more informed, we've talked about being informed in general, I think that can help lead to solutions and change, because it'll give you more of an appreciation of really what folks are facing every day. So that's one thing that I believe can lead to a solution. Another, I'd like to just mention a website which is called donorschoose.org. It's not something I'm affiliated with in any way, but it helps provide funding specifically to underfunded public schools in a lot of different areas. Again, it's donorschoose.org. I've contributed to it several times. And if you are, after listening to Calvin's great podcast and all this information that you've heard, of such a mind to try to help make a small change and actually give directly to classrooms so that kids can benefit from things such as books or other programs, I just wanted to mention that. I don't want that to be a long-term solution, but it's something you can do today, and it doesn't take a whole lot of money to be an individual contributor.
All right, thank you for that, Amy. And
And
before we switch segments here, I do want to give Charlie a chance to give his answer. He deferred an answer. Would you like to come back to that, Charlie?
Well, not to the. I'll just go with the ending here, and I'll add something else on there. I think states need to review their formulas or algorithms, or however they determine funding, particularly between wealthier school districts and poorer school districts, and because it all starts with money. And I think that needs to be reviewed and looking at it and optimizing the resources as much as possible.
All right, thank you very much. And yes, we come to the end of another major topic for diverse talking heads. And the bottom line solution, again, is more money is needed. In one of the wealthiest countries of the world, more money is needed. A country that ships out hundreds of millions of dollars a day outside of its borders, we still need so much help here at home. So we're going to take a second. We'll be right back with our round robin discussion. You're not going to want to miss this part. Only on Diverse Talking Heads podcast. And we are back. This is Diverse Talking Heads podcast. And now we're going to go into our segment of our round robin discussion. This segment will be led by panelist Mark. Mark, take it away.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm sorry. Thank you, Calvin. Um, yes, we've been talking about education and about schools and teachers, and I wanted to talk about one of the reasons that I think we're having difficulty in schools, and that's the politicization. Lawmakers and states, for example, in Florida, they passed the Don't Say Gay, or they're working on the Don't Say Gay bill, where teachers aren't allowed to talk about LGBT issues in certain classrooms. Um, in Kansas, they're working on making it a misdemeanor for any teacher who uses materials depicting homosexuality in any way um, in schools. In Tennessee, there's a bill that would prohibit schools from using any books or instructional materials that mention gay, bisexual, or transgender issues in the schools. Indiana has working on a bill that would prohibit teachers from discussing any content, sexual orientation, or transgenderism or gender identity. And I just find it crazy that people are running for office these days using transgender kids as the evil monster that voters should be afraid of. And I wanted to bring this to the panel and see what you have to think about all of these, what I think are mean-spirited and hateful bills put by legislatures and state governments prohibiting teachers from helping students, because we know that there's LGBTQIA youth in schools. And I don't know. And Sonia, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this issue?
Wow, that's deep. That's a mouthful. I think, and I'll take it from the angle of the politicians. They are always trying to put ideas in people's heads. I was watching a documentary the other day, and I came and I talked to Calvin, and I said, it's really interesting how when people want to formulate your thoughts in your minds, they start to do some really interesting things. And politicians are trying to play on the fact that this is something new, that this is a issue that has just popped up. It has always been there. It has always been existing, but it has been on the back burner. And it is the politicians that are bringing it to light because they are trying to do what? Divide people. And in any way they can do that, they want to divide you and make sure that you take your eye off the issue. The issue is what we talked about just a few minutes ago: misappropriation of funds in education. So if I can tell you that I'm eating a popsicle, but I throw a wadded piece of candy across the room, I'm going to tell you that that wadded piece of candy is more valuable than what I have in my hand because I'm eating an ice cream. Okay. So this is what I think about what politicians are doing. They're trying to play on the issues. And like you said, at this point, they're trying to lay it on the backs of the children, which kids already have enough problems right now. They really do. Going through puberty, etc., and trying to find out who they actually are. So I think that politicians are, Calvin, I almost said the scum of the earth, but I'll take that part back. But it to me, that's what I feel, is that they're just trying to utilize that as the new trigger. And we're not going to give you money because you decided that you want to talk to these kids who are going through this um, process in their life. We're not going to give you money. But then who's suffering in the end? The kids.
Kelvin.
Yes, I think it just sucks for politicians to use kids in that manner. Period. You know, there was a time when kids and old people was off limits. You wouldn't do anything to harm them or hurt them. You wouldn't show them in what could be conceived as a bad light per se. But today, it seems like it's everything and everybody is fair game. Some of the tricks that I see being used for this upcoming election on both sides is stuff I've never seen before. Um, Using the kids, as you said, Mark, that should be totally off limits. Uh, in Chicago area or Illinois area, they showed a video of a lady being attacked, knocked down, beaten, and assaulted on the streets, and saying that the sitting governor was the cause of this. Now, this lady is screaming in the video. You can hear her screaming for help. She's being assaulted. And this is what you're going to use as a campaign item? You know, people should be up in arms about this. Yes, I know that you need to get your point of view out there, but politics are so dirty these days.
If I can add on to that, and what they are negating to say in Illinois, the Chicago alderman just got a raise. But who's talking about that? But they don't want to put money in schools. They just got a raise. They're making $108,000 for a part-time job.
And to use the fear factor, um, as Mark mentioned, using kids for the fear factor, I think that's just wrong. That's all I have to say, Mark.
I'll come in here now. The word, Mark, that you said sticks with me. It's mean. This thing is so mean spirited and so wrong in so many ways, but it's based in fear. We have a fear of LGBT people. We have a fear of Black people. We have a fear of Latino people. We have a fear of whatever people, always putting off the fear, this fear that like this group of people, whoever they may be, are suddenly going to come to your house and take over it and attack your family and all this other nonsense. There's this broad stereotype. And that's really what disturbs me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was thinking about this whole debate over transgender bathrooms, and every home in America is a transgender bathroom, isn't it? I mean, I just can't understand how they're making this a political issue and singling out such a small minority of people to go after for votes and to create, like you said, this fear.
Now, Mark, I'm sorry. I don't know how many of you used to go out to clubs when you were younger. And as a woman, if the women's bathroom was full and nobody was in the men's bathroom, I'm not gonna lie, I took a duck in there and had my girlfriend watch out. So are you telling me that I was against something being transgender when a toilet's a toilet? Come on.
Right.
No, it's the truth. It's the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, just reversed rules for transgender children in the schools, and the students are protesting, and it's like, who? I don't understand. I'm still learning about that, but I'm not understanding, like, if the people voted for it and that's what they wanted, what's the problem? Their kids, their